Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. We got a great episode today. We're going to be talking about something that everybody's been asking me about, and that's optimizing your product development stage. So, how do you create product development? So, the theme today is optimizing the product development stage for your Amazon FBA business. We're also going to be talking about using data for product development, and we'll be going over what you'll need to know about your product research, your product demand fit, and also your product validation, and a lot more. So welcome to the Lunch with Norm e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. And I got that bass backwards. All right.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
That's what I love about live, Oh my gosh. And by the way, I almost couldn't make it onto the podcast today. Maybe that's a good thing for some of you, but just had a power outage and the power just came back on a few minutes beforehand. So I'm still a little razzled about that. But as I mentioned today, it's going to be a really great show. We're going to be talking about optimizing the product development stage for your Amazon FBA business. Our guest is a repeat guest. He's a successful entrepreneur and Amazon thought leader. He spent 15 years working as an account director and strategist for some of the top digital agencies around the world, like Johannesburg, London, Los Angeles, before starting his own business. He started his Amazon journey around 2014, launching multiple successful private label brands, and soon founded Zon Guru with his partner, Adam Hudson. And I am talking about Jon Tilley. We're going to be getting to Jon in just a second, but just a word from our sponsor now. Any e-commerce retailer knows that video and photography are the two most powerful tools in your arsenal when it comes to increasing sales and conversion rates. And when it comes to sourcing high quality video and photography content for your Amazon products, there's no better team to trust than the experts at videotelepathy.com. Whether you're just starting out selling on Amazon or you're already an 8-figure business, Video Telepathy has the perfect video solution to help boost your bottom line. And their Big Kahuna package is the perfect option for any listing for your slide deck, A+ content. It could be for your Amazon store or social media and even your other e-commerce platforms. So don't wait. Check out videotelepathy.com today. We use them and you should too. Don't forget to tell them Norm sent you. The Big Kahuna package. That's right, Kels.
I like the name of that. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Norm. It's good to see the Beard Nation joining us. Cool Hand 99. Hope you're having a fabulous Friday, too. Also, Connor, good to see you. Having a successful Friday. Let us know what you're doing, what you have plans for this weekend over in the comment sections. Also, let us know where you're from in the world. We've got people from, Ethiopia, where else? Germany, US, Canada. Let us know in the comments. And yes, Marcia, we just today I got the doorknob or the
doorknob.
We're having
you are a doorknob. My gosh. Get what you pay for.
We did receive the stable copper. So thank you, Marcia. And
yes, thank you, Marcia.
Yeah. So to get started, make sure you smash those like buttons. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the podcast. Also, don't forget to join our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and e-commerce collective. We've got a great group over there. We're almost at 30,000 members, which is crazy as we just started that I think about a year ago. So it's great to see that we've got a little community building, and that's where you can ask your questions, your tips. We drop our discounts over there too. So it's a great place to be. You get to network and just have some fun over there. Let me see. Other than that, this is a live podcast. So if you're new to the show, you can ask your questions. We're going to be getting to them at the end of the episode. So make sure you drop them in now, because sometimes we get so many that we can't answer. So if you get them in now, you're probably guaranteed to get your answer by the end of today's episode. And I think that's about it. And as Marcia said, thank goodness it's Friday, friends. And it's great to be here. Excited for this one.
So if you have any comments or questions, throw them over in the comments section. Now, over the last 3 podcasts, we found that we've had tons of questions. And it just, like, we'll be just talking until I run out of questions for our guest. And both time or the last 3 podcasts, we've actually just run out of time. There's been so many questions. So please enter your questions early. We're going to judge where we can cut off the podcast just based on the questions that come in or comments. And we love engagement. Anybody who's been watching this show in the past knows that we love our engagement. We love our community. So just throw it in there. We also will have a giveaway today. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And let's just sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee. Unfortunately, I don't have mine yet. Hopefully I'll get one soon, and enjoy the episode. Welcome, Jon.
What's up, Noel? I think I want to change my name to Bass Ackwards. I kind of like that.
I can't believe I did that. Anyways, it's live. It's live.
Dude, that's great. That's great. Dude, I just want to sit backstage and listen to you guys. I was having a laugh in the background. That was good. It was good. Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Good.
You know, I see you all over the place. Like, you know, I'm usually at the events I attend, you attend. It's kind of cool, you know, getting in and creating a friendship over Amazon. But also, you know, it's kind of, I talk about events quite a bit and networking. And it's pretty wild how you get to have this really great group of people that you would never have had the chance to meet. And for the most part, you know, everybody's positive, everybody's looking out for everybody. And it's just kind of a great community. And I don't know what your thoughts are on, you know, events and networking, but I'd like to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, look, it depends on you know who's attending the event, and what I mean by that is, are you going there as a seller or obviously a vendor or a partner, etc. But the bottom line is, like, if you want to like invigorate your mind and your thinking, and you kind of need a little bit of a push, that is hands down the best way to do it every single time. You know, I think whenever I go to an event, you know, you're going to get hundreds of ideas. You're going to meet a few people that are going to be really important in your pathway for the next 6 to 12 months. Yeah, it's well worth it, and you've got to go there with the right mindset. So I know that there's been a break from events for quite some time, and it's back on. You know, like I think September this month.
Oh my God.
There's a bunch. I think some people are like you know, away from home for a month and a half, just kind of traveling between Australia and the US and Seattle and, you know, everywhere. So you know, this is a tough business in some ways, and it's a competitive one, and it's a, you know, you've got to be at the cutting edge of your thinking, and you've got to be, you know, getting as much good information in as possible to really plot your way forward. Again, if you're a seller, vendor, or partner, it doesn't matter, and that's one of the best ways to do it for sure.
Yeah, you just touched a nerve, and that is, if you don't go out there and if you don't continue to update your skills, you'll be left behind, and you'll be left behind very quickly. If you're not looking into groups and finding out what the latest tips and tricks are, not, you know, hacks, but just be in the know. Like Amazon updates, they just did something that I thought was pretty cool yesterday or the day before, and that was to bring brand registry into Seller Central. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Oh, coffee's coming. That's kind of interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
anyways,
look,
I mean,
ahead. To kind of play off on that, like, and it's kind of getting into the discussion of what we're talking about today. But I think, you know, that, you know, we've been in this business long enough, right? Since, I mean, I've been there since 2014. You probably are there since the day Amazon started. I don't know, but you know, the theme has always been at the seller level is like, oh, Amazon is more competitive than it's ever been. You know, it's so hard to get in. You know, and I think our answer has always been, yeah, it's more competitive today than it was yesterday. That just means you have to be better with your skill sets, and more importantly, better with using data to find your opportunities. It's not just a, you know, lick your finger, stick it in there and say, hey, I'm going to do this. You have to use data to find your opportunities to find your focus. And that applies to everything, but specifically product research, right? And I think if you look at Amazon today, I think the current theme is for that individual private label seller, it's pretty tough. There's a lot more, you have to pay to play, on the paid media side. You're competing against big retail brands in a lot of the categories. They're bigger brands, so it is tougher. But if you use data, you can find those opportunities. And what is cool about Amazon right now is like with in the last few months, they've deprecated MWS, which is their API data. They're moving off of that. They're bringing in the seller partner API, and with that seller partner API, there's so much more data in there. It's absolutely way more data, way more organized than it used to be. You even got vendor central data in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And what's super cool about that is that from a SaaS software side of it, we've got more data to play with, and Amazon is notorious of not being able to necessarily provide them the best user experience. So we've got stuff that we can work with to help you, give you more data, to help you find better opportunities. And there are definitely so many more opportunities now, that we can get at with data, which is great.
So, I mean, that is a great segue, because, we're talking about how you have to keep up with things, and what you're doing and what you're talking about today is definitely something that I wouldn't have done in 2014 or 16 or 20. I probably would have been looking into it, but nowadays you've got to bring data into it. So why don't we start the discussion there? How are people using data to find or use it in the product development stage?
Yeah, I think the first question I want to just preface that before we kind of get into the product development is like, clearly on Amazon, if you're starting to sell, there's two ways to grow your business. One is expand your channels, which could be expanding your Amazon marketplaces, going international, expanding outside of Amazon. That's clearly one way to do it. The other way to do it, and probably hugely the easier way, is to expand your product line, right? And even easier within that product line is to look at expanding your brand or your product line extension within the brand that you have, right? So, if you're selling dog toys, looking in that category and seeing how to expand that. And that's what we can talk about a lot today is product development, but more importantly, developing your product within the subcategory or the niche that you're in right now. So there's so many benefits to doing that. One is clearly if it expands your brand line, it allows for additional purchases or bundling or using the people who buy your second product would probably buy your first. So there's obviously a benefit there. One of the biggest benefits I would say to sellers is that most likely you could potentially do that with your same manufacturer, which is a huge a cost efficiency and an easy way to expand your line. There's many things there, but what we've tried to do with data, and it's kind of interesting from a product development perspective, is try and analyze, instead of just saying, hey, let's put a keyword in or let's kind of like look at some overarching categories in Amazon. Let's get more specific and let's say, hey, within a subcategory of Amazon or a leaf category, which you guys know, if you look on the left side of Amazon, it's kind of like, it's the category you sell in. Can we analyze that full, set of products within that leaf category and understand, what are the things that look like great opportunities? So that's where we've been focusing. And there's a report that you've obviously heard of in a lot here called the products. I think it's called the Products Opportunity Explorer report within Amazon, right? Which is allowing you, it gives you access to a lot more of the data, search volume, sales, etc. within your specific categories. If you're brand registered, you kind of get access to that data. So that's a really good place to start. What we've done on our side is we've actually curated all of that information together in our own kind of Product Opportunity Explorer report, which looks at a subcategory and every single product in that subcategory, and we put it together in a report. And we have about 14 different views that we look at in that to help define, where the opportunities are. And that's been really useful at the seller level. But most of the people who are using this right now are agencies, our customers, agencies who are doing a quarterly review for their clients and saying, hey, these are the brands you sell. Where could you expand? and what are the questions we can answer to help you expand that product line. So that's kind of where we're seeing a lot of this use.
It's interesting because a lot of people think that there's just not enough sales in subcategories or niches. Tim Jordan and I, we were doing a training class, and this was just live on the training. We were looking at, what were they? Tortilla makers. And we just pulled up tortilla makers, and we found that there were metal tortilla makers on the market for around $20, $24, something like that. And then we kept looking, and we saw that there was a wooden one there, and that was close to $100. It was like $99, and it was wooden. So we went and we took a look, and Tim said, "Why don't we make it authentic?" And he went and he checked, and he found one in Guatemala, which was dirt cheap. That now, instead of going out and doing the metal tortilla holder, which everybody was doing, very few people were doing the wooden one, like almost nobody. And then the Guatemala one, which we could now market as an authentic tortilla holder, not one made in China. And we didn't put it on the market, but it was just a training class that we were showing people. But he did do that in Project X with the wooden egg holder. I don't know if you've seen that, but they killed it. Bradley Sutton and Tim did this in Project X with the wooden coffin holder, now a saturated market, and the wooden egg holder, which nobody was doing. And they went out, this is very interesting what we're talking about today, because they went out and they used Pinterest and they used Etsy to find what people were posting. If you combine that with what you're talking about today, that would just be a win-win-win.
100%. Yeah. And I think, you've got to start somewhere with your data and then expand beyond that, right? So you've got to kind of find the opportunities. And there are two approaches. One is, hey, finding the opportunity on Amazon. And that's usually lower search volume, less competition, but lower search volume on Amazon is still, it's $1 million product right there anyway, right? So the idea of how we rate products at a high level is like, there has to be demand, search for that product. There has to be, you have to have an understanding of the competition, right? And how easy is it to potentially compete on there? And that's getting down to even the depth of the keywords and potentially, other ways that you can get in on those keywords. You've got to understand how much capital you need to invest. Is this $100,000 upfront fee to get into this category, or is it $20,000, right? You've got to understand that. And then obviously your revenue potential, how much money can you make at the end of the day, right? Those are the four. When you look at our products, we have a thing called the niche rater. We base every analysis on those four aspects, and obviously the fifth is differentiation, which is a softer skill. But
can we go through those four in a little bit more detail?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So and what it's kind of interesting. So you've got this. It's called a niche differentiator, and it's basically those 4 points.
Niche rater, yeah, we call it the niche rater, and we divide it into those 4 points because when we developed that, it was like, if we're going to launch something, what do we need to understand from a business perspective that at the end of the day is going to be truly important for us to say yes or no, right? And right. That's the 4 categories. But to your point, there's a whole bunch of data that goes into each one. And to the point I mentioned earlier, now today with the Product Opportunity Explorer, we even have more data that can go into that can help give you the confidence to move forward. Starting at the demand side, demand is self-explanatory, right? It's like how many people are actually searching for that type of product today. It used to be something along the lines of just, hey, this is the search volume, right? There used to be estimates on it. It's obviously much more accurate these days with the data we can get at. But hey, here's the current search volume. So you have to know that. But more importantly, understanding the depth of the search volume on keywords, I think is really, really important, right? Because if it's only 2 or 3 keywords that is driving the search volume, everyone's competing for that. But if you understand, hey, here's the full depth of the types of keywords and the search volume around that, I think that's gives you a lot more understanding of like, hey, if I enter this market, I could probably look at these bottom search volume keywords that have less, but maybe I could own that. And of course, understanding contextually where are your competitors focusing. So I'm jumping a couple of steps ahead, but
Yeah.
that's kind of when you start to look at something that looks good on the surface and you're looking to launch it, you've got to really understand the depth of the keywords and where competitors are focusing and what your launch strategy is about, what you can own, right? So that's kind of demand at a high level. I would say it's also progressed further today, where we now understand another question, and especially at the enterprise level that gets asked around that is like, what is the TAM, right? So the total applicable market size, the TAM SOM, and I forget the other one, right? Which is over time, looking at it historically, each, in that niche that you're looking to launch a product, what is the overall size of the revenue potential of that market? Is this a $3 million category, or is it a $1 million a month category? What are the top 25 brands? How much revenue are they bringing in, and how much market share do you think you can own of that? So that's like the biggest discussion, I would say, at the more of the enterprise area around demand is not just understanding search volume, but it's like, what's the trend over time? What's the overall size of the market, and how much do we think we can own of that market? Who's owning the most market share? Are the top three owning 50% of that market, or they're owning only 10% of that market, and there's a much better chance that you can kind of get in there and compete? So those are the questions that demand is moving towards, is understanding market share. How competitive is that, and can we get more market share? So that's demand. I don't know if you have any comments on that, Norm, or
Yeah, sorry. I always love coughing into a guest ear, but one of the things that I look for as well, and you touched on it, but the brand. If there is a major brand in there, and they're eating away most of the, you could look at the three, but if there's one major competitor in there, I'll just eliminate it. If I'm running a report, I'll eliminate it, see what's left, and see if it's worth even getting into. Because if there's let's say it's a shampoo company, and it's a major and I don't want people to take this wrong. If you go in and you see a major brand in your niche, if it's a lower level or if it's way above the tier that you're selling at, I don't take that into consideration. So usually I'll see 3 tiers. The low, like trading for dollars and or pennies and nickels. The next one, which is the average seller, and then your high perceived value brands. If mine is either at the first or second, and the brand is coming out at the third, then I take that into consideration, and I could go out and compete against. It's not my competition. That's what I'm trying to say. So
Right.
you do have to weigh it, just to make sure. But you're absolutely right. If you're taking a look at the research, and most of those keywords are going to 2 or 3, or most of the market share is going to 2 or 3 of your competitors, it'd be very tough or a waste of time. But this is where your data comes in, John.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think like historic, we have a historical tracking of the top 3 clicks and conversions from brand analytics, right? In any niche, we can show the historical tracking of that. And it's really interesting to see, in some of those cases, the top 3 are always the same top 3, right? So they're consistently the ones that get the most clicks and conversions. And that's probably a red flag to say, hey, this is pretty much owned, right?
Right.
But a lot of the times you see those top 3 changing every single month, right? And to me, that's a flag that, hey, you could potentially, at some point compete with those guys. Now, again, I think if you're launching something, you're never going to be necessarily competing with the top 3 to start. So you've just got to understand how much do they own and how much is left that you can compete for. But I actually wanted to just touch on a point that you mentioned earlier is like usually those top 3 are the ones that are getting the most clicks and conversions, and they're competing on the most search volume and probably the cheapest price. It's typically how it is, right? Or the best value price, I would say. Where you're talking about in terms of those 3 tiers, if I could give anyone advice around product development, it's exactly what you guys were talking about with the wooden tortilla holder, right? That's a relatively cheap product, $20. There's millions of those. But how could you take something and then elevate it from a brand perspective, where all of a sudden you can charge $100 and you've come up with a wooden one, it's more authentic. Maybe it's got some etching in it that represents the history of tortilla making, whatever it is, coming in a cool box. And now you're selling a product that probably doesn't cost much more on the cog side of it than the metal ones, but you're selling it at $100. And you're competing in an area where most of the competitors aren't playing, which is that value $24. You're competing at the $100. That's the magic of true entrepreneurship in the space, which is not over capitalizing on your differentiation, but being able to have a cheaper cogs and charging it at that premium price. And that's where brand comes in and everything that we teach, right? So I was just touching on that point that you mentioned, which is understanding the tiers and then seeing if you can get into that top premium tier, but obviously have a lower cogs, and that's gold.
Now, okay, so we've touched on the first one, which is validation. So what was your second point?
The first one was demand validation. The second one I would say on those tiers is the level of competition, right? Which we've kind of talked about a little bit already, right? So one thing that is interesting, in that process is, wouldn't you love to know how many launches happen how many product launches happen over the last year, and more importantly, how many of those were successful, right? That would be an interesting data point to understand, and that data point is now available in that Product Opportunity Explorer report. We can show in a category, hey, what was launched over the last 6 to 12 months on Amazon, how many products and how many of those actually were successful. And the success of that, I think Amazon deems a product to be successful when it's doing over $10,000 in revenue a month, over a 3-month period, 90 days or something like that. So they've got a specific rule that they say, hey, this is deemed a successful product. And it's pretty interesting when you see it. You could see, in some of these niches, hey, they launched 25 products and only 5 were successful, right? So that's a clear indicator that probably is really competitive, or there's some, you've got to dig into why that is, versus somewhere it's like, hey, it seems like there's a good ratio between launches. You want lower launches and more successful ones. So that's the kind of stuff we can get at on the competitive level, which kind of adds to understanding the competition. Obviously, you want some competition, but not too much, right?
Right. I was just thinking about it when you were saying that about the Product Explorer opportunity. Have you ever used the what's it called, the search performance report and the search catalog report that are in brand analytics now?
Yes, I've used them, and to be transparent on that, I've also, most of my interaction with that is me talking to the product team and them showing me that. But that's the kind of, those views are some of the views that we're taking from one specific category that you can get in brand analytics, and we're extrapolating that to be able to show you the roll up of that whole category. So we're almost taking that information, we're giving you the much broader view across that. But yes, I have had a look at it.
Yeah. So for any listener who doesn't know what these are, they're in your brand analytics. I think you have to, it's a little bit tricky to find the first time. When you go in and you click brand analytics, you'll see something, I believe it says, maybe they've removed it now, but beta reports. You click on it and you'll see 3 reports, and it'll be the catalog performance, your keyword performance, and then you'll see repeat. So that repeat customers. So what products are being, not customers, but repeat purchases. So what customers are coming back to your brand and buying products. Well, what I love about this keyword search is what the keyword is, if it's a primary, or I call it a primary long tail, but if it might be like natural bully sticks, then if that word is converting better than anything else, it might be lower search volume. You can go and create a silo of these keywords that are built around natural bully sticks, that you can start building up those sales in that category. And you can do this so easily just by looking at the data, what keywords are converting. And you might be spending a hell of a lot of money on keywords that are getting you nowhere, or they're just like bully stick. It's a $20 click. I don't want to go for bully stick. I won't go for bully stick. But if it's a natural bully stick, odorless bully stick, what are those primary keywords that I should focus my time and energy on? And the information that comes out of those reports you shake your head because you have no idea that certain keywords are performing the way that they do, and at a cheaper level on PPC, which is kind of cool. I just wanted to throw that in.
No, I mean, it's a really good point. And we look at that in our Keywords on Fire tool in the sense that understanding not just keywords and search volume, but what are the ones that are, inverted commas, research keywords, and what are the true ones that are the converting keywords, right? And you've got to understand the difference, because one might have really high search volume and you're like, hey, great, I'm going to put this up in the top of my listing. But if that overall is not really as much of a converting keyword, you have to analyze that data over time and understand, hey, this is what I have in my thing, but these are actually ones that drive more of the research, but these are the actually converting ones, right? And making sure that you focus on those. The second point I want to make there, and it's a really important one, is the cost per click, right? In the paid side of it. We have in our keyword tool again the average PPC bid per keyword, right? And you see some of these keywords, you just said it, like bully stick, or obviously stuff in the vitamin or the those kind of categories, or the shake categories. People are paying like, I don't know what it is, like $15, $20 per click, and what you got to be clear on there is like, are those, if people are paying that amount for a click, do they actually know what they're doing, or do they actually know not, or do they have no clue to what they're doing, right? And in most cases, they actually know what they're doing because they understand their LTV, their lifetime value of their customer. And that goes back to this idea of repeat purchases, especially if you in FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, products that are repeat purchased. If you can understand the repeat purchasing behavior, you will know that the value of the sale is not what you actually sell it for. Let's just say it's $25. Your value is not $25, but if someone buys that product, there's probably a good chance that there's maybe one or two repeat purchases in that, and your lifetime value is $75. So what are you willing to pay for that click? You're certainly willing to pay more than potentially $20 or whatever your cost is, right? So that's an important. It's a big theme with again, enterprise clients, is especially in the FMCG space, which is, what is my LTV? We have a report at the high level which gives LTV, but understanding, hey, what is my lifetime value of each one, which helps me come up with my customer acquisition cost. What am I willing to pay to acquire that customer? Which again, this is more complex stuff, but we have the data to be able to answer that, and that's how you stay ahead of the game, and you can win, right?
Yeah, especially like recurring revenue, or if you're widening your brand, or I love this, is if you're converting that client or that customer over to a subscription. So I know if we get somebody over to our website and we get that next purchase, which we're going to give them a product for free to try out one of our new scents, that the chances of getting them to come over and subscribe to our service, well, that's $300. It's not 10. So
yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone the other day about this, and I've talked about it before. Like that's the mecca, right? If you can see your Amazon business as your lead magnet, right? It's the first purchase. They have a need and they want to buy something, and they get your product and they buy it, bam. And then you can use various strategies to get them to your Shopify websites, and that becomes the place where they become brand evangelists, where they do repeat purchases and hopefully a subscription business. Dude, the value of your business is through the roof, and then you've created a true e-commerce brand, right? If you're just selling a product on Amazon, you haven't you've created a product, but you haven't created an e-commerce brand yet, and that's where you've got to think about getting there, and hopefully your Amazon channel becomes a smaller piece of your overall revenue for your business. But as far as your lead magnet, your first purchase, Amazon is absolutely the best channel to go for. So yeah, I mean, look, a lot of this is maybe some people listening might be overwhelmed by going like, oh my gosh, like there's so much stuff that we have to think about, but what I can say is, like, with the data we have, even in this product opportunity explorer, I'll explain one that we just looked at it, recently. But when you actually just look at the data, and there are recommendations at the end, we are finding opportunities on Amazon right now, which are 10, not 10, but more like 15 to 25,000 capital investments. Great, a business that you can grow into doing $1 million, over time, good profitability, not so much competition. They're still there, but you've got to use the data to find those, right? We just found one, I think, in an exercise we were doing a couple of days ago, which was, we were just like, okay, let's use this product opportunity explorer report. Let's look in toys, one of the most competitive categories. And
right.
We looked through that and we were like, oh, something keeps standing out. And was like this kind of like plush toy category. We're like, okay, this is pretty competitive. And then we kind of looked and we started to see, oh, there was like this anxiety plush toy. So they've taken this concept of the anxiety blanket, a weighted blanket, and they've created weighted plush toys, right? And it's kind of a new category that's growing, but it's almost like these heavier, stuffed animals that are comforting to toddlers, that could smell nice, or you could heat them up. It's kind of like this category that's emerging. And when we looked at that category, it had decent numbers, but they were all kind of like a dinosaur, and then we kind of looked into it, and then there was a certain animal, I forget what it was, but there was a couple of animals that were starting to stand out in that category, and we're like, just create the anxiety version of that animal, and then think about how you can differentiate them with, like, adding a nice box that they could color in, or there was games in it, or taking other concepts and adding it from that perspective. And that's how we used to do it back in the day, and those opportunities are still absolutely there. So the point being is, like, if you can rely a little bit on data and you understand that and let the data work hard for you, you're going to find these opportunities over and over. And then you just got to think about how you can do it a bit smarter than others. So they are there for the small sellers or the big sellers, right?
All right. Very good. We'll come back to this as well. Right now, for anybody who's listening and you do have comments or questions about product development, product research, just let us know. This is an interesting topic about using data, the product opportunity explorer. There's a variety of different things. So let us know if you have any questions. John's here to answer them. And we are going to have a giveaway. I think Kelsey was flashing up to tell me, make sure you go to the giveaway. We're running. It's beyond the bottom of the hour. So John, why don't you tell us about the giveaway today?
Yeah, so one lucky person can get one of these product opportunity explorer reports created in any subcategory you want. So whoever wins today, they'll connect with us, and we literally you just tell us the subcategory you're interested in, or if you want us to pick one for you, that's fine. But tell us the one that you're interested in. We'll run this report and we'll send that to you with an analysis at a high level and recommendations, so you can kind of look at that and understand, hey, within this subcategory, here's the top 20 or top 5 niches that really have true potential. And again, we have about 14 different views of that, and then recommendations at the end. So it goes everything from like overall search volume by niche, overall revenue, market share, conversion rates, successful launches, which I touched on, age of competitors that have launched in that, demand, that niche radar, we have that in there per thing. So we look at the overall stack view of demand, competition opportunity, revenue potential, and capital investments. There's an ROI view in that. So, again, we have all of these pretty extensive views that you can look at individually, or you can actually just look at our recommendations at the end. So we have certain if-then statements, like based on each of those views. Hey, if the niches expand beyond this cap, we take them out, and we kind of come down to a recommendation on the back end. So we're going to give one of those for free. So anybody who's interested in a specific category and looking at understanding what the niches are, we'll give you this report for free.
So that's a heck of a giveaway. If anybody is listening, just what we were talking about earlier, the way that you could drill down here, and this is priceless. So if you're interested in this, if you're interested in a specific niche, make sure it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, name 2 people or tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. And also, we've also got a bonus. John has given, what is it, a 20% discount, or there's a discount for your software that we'll be posting as well. So just either in the show notes on our website, you'll see the Lunch with Norm discount that you'll get. It's 20% off. anything that, well, not anything, but off of the app. But what a price. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
No problem. And yeah, I think if they're listening, if you guys are in that phase of looking to launch products or moving along, just jump in there, take the 20%. But even in that 7 days, what I would encourage you to do is to run a keywords on fire session, which is our keyword research tool. Just run it on your main seed keywords. So again, if you're selling plush, anxiety, animal toys, you can put that in. It's going to give you the depth of the category of all of the keywords, search volumes, revenue from keywords, and importantly, a view which is where your competitors are focusing and potentially where the competitors are not focusing, which could help you with your launch strategy in understanding, hey, across this category, this is where I should really, focus my PPC efforts around launch, get some good conversion rate there because it's not as competitive. So, even in the 7-day free trial, you're going to get some use out of using that before you launch your product. It gives you the confidence to move forward for sure.
Fantastic. So I know Kelsey's going to bother me about this. Kelsey, yes, I forgot about the sponsor. Please click the button now. A big thank you to our sponsor, Post Purchase Pro, the only complete A to Z done for you real email and text marketing service built specifically for Amazon sellers. My friends Sean Hart and Seth Stevens co-founded Post Purchase Pro after launching over 1,000 successful private labeled products, growing 53 brands, and get this, exiting 17 businesses. Post Purchase Pro creates all of your digital assets 100% for you, from marketing inserts, complete sales funnels, email follow-up sequences, and weekly email promotions. They manage and optimize everything for you to drive more sales, get higher ranking, and receive more reviews on Amazon. So check out Post Purchase Pro now to see if you too will see enormous growth like their nearly 500 clients worldwide. That's Post Purchase Pro at postpurchasepro.com/lunch. All right, we're back. Okay, so John, I guess we can move on to one of the other points you were talking about, and I believe this is one of the 4. I hope it is. I think it is, but capitalization. So a lot of people don't understand capitalization and how much it would actually cost. Do these reports show that? And let's dive into capitalization a bit.
Yeah. So at a high level, we have that in our niche radar, which is the capital investment, right? So the level of investment that you need to make into launching a product successfully. And the basic way that we do it right now is we literally look at, what's the average daily sales of page 1, right? Because at the end, on the keyword that you're targeting, right, or the set of keywords, like the main set of keywords that your product would rank for, that you should focus on. What are the average daily sales that you need to do to compete on page 1? So once you figure out that number, it's a matter of understanding, hey, what is the cost of goods price points at the daily sales and about 3 months of stock. So that's what we typically use to calculate that. Now, obviously some people might say, hey, you know what, I only want to have 1 month of stock, or 2 months or whatever it is. But we're of the opinion nowadays that there's enough data and there's enough, if you do your homework properly and you understand your research and you do all the steps right, you should have confidence that you can order 3 months of stock and really kind of compete, and really go hard with your launch strategy and everything. And that's what you need to do to win on Amazon. Like, gone are the days of just like, within degrees, gone are the days of maybe just testing a small sample. So, that's giving you a good understanding of like, okay, if I need to make daily sales of this much and I have 3 months of stock, do I need $100,000 or do I need $20,000? So that's kind of the capital investment piece that you need to look at. And then of course that's on your stock purchase, right? But then there's obviously the additional ones of understanding your launch process and your launch budgets, and the PPC aspects around that. Like how much do we need to actually spend on PPC And there's a report in there giving you that average PPC cost across your keywords, and giving you some indication of the PPC budget as well. So those are the two things that we really look at. Mostly we just give a guideline around the stock purchase, but make sure that you understand that in your COGS you don't include it there, but you've got to have an advertising budget because it's pay to play, right? So make sure you have that covered as well.
But this is where what you were talking about earlier comes into play. Your competition, your search volume. You've got to take a look at that, because you might want to get into supplements and you might have enough to cover your first order, but the PPC cost, the black hat crap that happens, everything that you have to take in consideration, that 20,000 can easily turn into 100,000. And there's no guarantee there. And also, I've had a client with bully sticks, and I warned them about capitalization, the proper capital. They said they had it. They went out and they sold out right away. No inventory, doubled the order, sold out right away. Doubled the order, sold out right away. And anyways, the guy couldn't afford the next order. He went under. So he just couldn't. I always tell people, think about the bunt, but also think about the home run. And can you have, what do you have to finance that? So that's just something else I just want people to be aware of.
Yeah. It's an amazing point. And this is what you're getting in there is cash flow and understanding cash flow. And this is the thing about Amazon, right? And I think we've always, you and I are on the same page. And I think, people are starting to get to this place, but, we always talk about this opportunity of Amazon and how it is, you can scale, you can scale a business, you can create revenue, you can create, you can create an amazing business. But at the end of the day, the word is business, right? And you've got to understand every aspect of business. And if you do scale quickly, what does that look like? Or how do you manage that, right? How do you build a proper business? And these are important questions. This idea of running out of cash and not being able, and the business going under, that happens across different categories, different businesses, and it can happen on Amazon as well. So you've got to be able to manage that. And again, it depends on where you are with you've got to choose your product for where you are at with your business, right? So again, bully sticks, I don't know what the kind of numbers were on that and the type of revenue or capital you needed, but it sounds like it was probably someone who either had reserves or was significantly further on in their Amazon business than where they were right now. So pick the product for where you are at in your phase of your Amazon journey, right? That's really important.
Right. And sticking with bully sticks, sticking with a sub niche. So our friend, Kevin King, one of his products, he looked at bully sticks. We were competitors, and he did something exactly like you're talking about. He went out, everybody else was selling a commodity, and it was all going out for like $24. Well, he looked at that market and he said, how can I be different? I'm going to go up to Canada. I'm going to find a different bully stick, a bigger bully stick, a gourmet bully stick, put 3 in a box, and sell them for more money than the ones that were selling for 12, for 12 bully sticks in a plastic box or a plastic bag. So he ended up selling these. It was genius. 3 really thick, what he called gourmet, made with a gourmet chef or something like that. And it was true. Like the guy who created this was some high up chef that for dog food preparation. Anyways, really cool idea. But this is how he entered into this sub niche, and he did really well at it.
Yeah, and what comes to mind on that is like what he's tapped into there and why he can charge what he charged with the gourmet chef and everything. He's picked what we call the gas factor, which is, excuse my French, is the give a shit factor, right? Which is like he's picked something that people really care about, right? Yeah, you think a bully stick is a bully stick, but like people love the animals. You're getting something slightly different. The gourmet aspect, bringing that dog food aspect to these bully sticks, and he tapped into something there that matters. So that's something you also got to think about a lot in your product line, is like how much do customers actually care about that product. What's the emotional connection that they have to that? And if they've got a high emotional connection, you're in a good space. Yeah,
very good. So we're down to number 4. I forget what it was that you were saying. So we've gone through.
The last one is revenue potential, which
Oh yeah, ROI.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Well, there's two more: revenue potential, and the last one is obviously differentiation, which is probably the backbone to making sure that you when you launch, if you've done your homework right, you have it's not an uphill battle like it can be. If you get that differentiation wrong, you're in a bad position, right? So anyway, revenue potential, at the end of the day, you've got to have. It's not about turnover. It's about what's left over, right? That's the saying that we have. So what's left over at the end of the day, typically you have to be in that $25 price point. But to what we talked about earlier, it's about the magic comes when you can charge a premium price but keep the cogs at what the average price is on Amazon, right? And so that Kevin King example is a perfect example. The ones we mentioned earlier are good examples. And again, if you have that gas factor, that's when you can charge more. If you figure out that's where branding comes into play. That's where you can charge more. And if you can figure out the branding, that's where you can expand beyond Amazon, have your Shopify, have your subscription services. That's where you're creating a true e-commerce brand. So, you've got to, if you really want to play in this game, those are the kind of ways of figuring stuff out. So that's good. And then obviously just moving on from that point, because I know we're almost out of time, but your differentiation is critical, right? And that is a softer skill. And I think when I look at the number one reasons why people fail on Amazon, it's because they've glossed over the value of the getting feedback, the product research, understanding your avatar, using tools to really do some proper research rather than just basing it on a hunch that you have, and figuring that out and coming up with your differentiation ideas and testing that. There's various tools that you can use to do that, but make sure you're not glossing through the product research side that you need to do, and getting good information in so you can come up with creative ways to come up with that. We have one tool in our tool set called the Love-Hate, which really is a simulation of product reviews, positive and negative, to give you the sentiment. And we use that a lot in, not only copywriting, but to give you ideas of like what do really people care about in terms of differentiation that you can focus on that is going to make a difference at the end of the day. So use different tools to figure that out.
All right. Very good. I just saw a comment from Mohammed. Hope you guys are doing great. Can you please elaborate on DSP and some other features in Amazon advertising? Absolutely. That is, these are topics that are coming up all the time. We just had one with Rita the other day from PPC Ninja. Anyways, if you want to check, I think that was just Monday, and she came in with some really great information. But we're always bringing in PPC companies to talk about it, as well as DSP. We're doing something, I believe it's next month on it. So anyways, Mohammed, just to let you know, we're working on it. Let's see, Kelsey, maybe we can go to the questions now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, first one is from Howard. What is the value of adding value-added items to popular selling listings? Is it to help differentiate?
Items.
You want me to take the first part?
You're talking about bundling?
Yeah. So let's say that you've got a knife and you're giving away a cookbook,
Yeah, look, I think also, there's ways in Amazon's now you can just, you can use the software to bundle without actually physically having to bundle, which is great, right? And look, it is a way to differentiate. Bundling is important. Obviously, it's driving your revenue cost up. But I always say bundling to a degree can get you there, and it's definitely far better than just doing a color variation, right? That's important. But I think if you get more into the differentiation of the brand and how you can position your brand differently, maybe a little bit more premium. Maybe there's a slight difference you make on the product. That goes much further than just bundling with, just added products, in my opinion.
Yeah, and with it, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of advantages. If you're bundling different products, let's say it's a candle and there's 3 different scents, and people buy those 3 candles, your chances of having frequently bought together and knocking out your competitor there is there. But the other thing is, if you've got a listing that's apples to apples, so somebody's coming over and it's an exact listing, okay, they're on the fence. Well, if you can show that with their candle, they're also going to get this free bonus and that free bonus, I know for myself, I would probably pick the one with the bonuses attached. So I always love either on the insert or on the insert to drive people over, where they also get value added, either extended warranty or some sort of samples or discounts or a cookbook, or we're working with meal plans right now, just something that that will solve a pain point or just give added value. And what you'll find is you're going to build loyal customers that way, and you can improve your listings, like I said, with frequently bought together. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are including bundled apps right now as well. So apps becomes a pretty easy one to bundle in there. It's bringing more value. Yeah, I think bundling is pretty vague because there's so many ways you can do it. I think it is an important thing. I would say in most times bundling helps you increase your revenue, maybe your profits. There's ways of doing that. It does help you on the frequently bought together. But I would say at a differentiation perspective, think more of your core product and how you can differentiate that. Bundling shouldn't be the major differentiating idea that you have there, in my opinion. I think if you can truly differentiate your product, that's where you're going to win. And then you can do bundling and everything to increase your revenue, profits, etc. on top of that.
Right. All right. Next question, Kels.
Okay, this one is from Yanni. Do you have any advice on testing new ideas on a budget?
So, I guess the easiest way to do it on a budget would just be to, and we used to do this in the past. I think you can use like a PickFu or something like that. But once you've kind of come up with your concept of your product, just mocking up a page on Amazon and placing your product in there, and then running it by your friends and family who are your target audience and asking them which one would they pick and why. I think is a really good way of getting feedback. And we actually extend that further into the buying experience if we've kind of moved it up that needle of like, yes, people are interested in this product in terms of friends and family. We think it's a good idea. But then actually just getting someone to buy a product on Amazon and record themselves using free, video recording software of what the actual buying process is when they pick a product. Why did they pick it? What did they look at? What are the dimensions? All of those kind of things. That really helps you to understand when you go through that process. You will get more insights onto how to differentiate your product than just general surveys, right? So get people to go through the buying process. That usually informs you a lot about how you can differentiate the process. You can do 2 of those and you'll get amazing insights. I always talk about the one when we were looking at a product that was a pull-up bar, and there's a certain dimension between the screws that goes into the wall that no one was actually covering in the images, and that became one of the biggest sticking points. And just making that change, I think, helped increase conversion by like 15 or 20%. It was crazy. So yeah.
Where do you go for those videos?
No, the process we use there, we just use Loom, which is
okay.
recording service, and then it's basically finding 5 people who are your target audience, and then going to them and saying, hey, we did it there. We're just like, hey, we want you to buy a pull-up bar that goes in the wall. Go into Amazon, find a pull-up bar, but talk through the actual experience of exactly why you picked it, where it was going to go, and that's the kind of insights that come out, right?
Okay, there is, and they're going to be on the podcast very soon, I think in the next week or 2, I think. But the company's called Product Pinion, and they do exactly that. Yeah,
good. Yeah.
Good. So, anyways, it'll be interesting to see, because I've used the service once for one of my products, but yeah, just exactly what you were talking about, they do. So anyways, we're going to be talking more about that in a couple of weeks.
It's amazing, honestly, it's crazy still, like just with that idea. But when you even look at those categories, how many, or just look at any search on Amazon, when you look at the images, how many actually have dimensions as like their third or fourth image with like very, very specific dimensions, all of their product? Like I don't know, it's probably still like 40-50%. It's not even like 100%. It's crazy that people don't have an image on there with the dimensions around the product purchase, So if you don't, you have to do it.
You know what I like is the people that can't afford or don't want to use a model or an influencer to hold up their product. And they've got this, like for me, a bar of soap, which is 5 times bigger than the person's hand. And it's just been placed there. And I mean, I always get a kick out of that because everybody's just going to look at it and just, shove off and not buy that product.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right, Kels.
Okay, we have 3 more questions. John, how are you for time? Do you have to get going anywhere?
No, we can run.
Yep. Okay, perfect. This one is from Marcia. Your work is strictly from the data standpoint, is that correct? Or does it have personal preferences or potential customer focus group inputs?
It is just from the data perspective. We do give insights around product differentiation, which is, for example, that love-hate tool that I talked about. So that's looking at sentiments based on. We used to do this in the old days, right? Is get our VAs to troll through all reviews and pick out all the themes that you can get from that. We kind of have a word cloud, a semantic word cloud that does it for us, and that gives you insights around sentiment. But again, I think most of us as data points to help on those 4 key factors, and then the product differentiation, which is really kind of the emotional side of it. I think is a softer skill that you have to figure out.
Yeah. And one of the things you talked about earlier, you can also see what the trends are by talking to your manufacturer. They'll let you know that, hey, I can do this on a budget. Maybe it's just something quick. Or if you really want to be innovative, we see the trend going over here.
One of the tricks I used to do with manufacturers is they used to come to me and say, "Oh, it's like, okay, it's $6 for a product, and then I would say to them, "Okay, well, if we increase the cost of goods to $7.50, what else could you do for me? How could you make this product better?" And that gets their mind ticking over, and they'll bring out some creative ideas out of the closet that they haven't told anyone else about. So that's absolutely, manufacturers know that product and that those ideas in and out. So tap into that. Yeah.
Gales.
Okay, next question is from Tony. Should you still repeat the similar keywords in phrase form in the title despite Amazon saying not to?
Norm, I know you've got an opinion on this.
I've got, and that it changes every month.
Yeah. Is it launching? Is it staying, consistently scaling your business? I'm going to just give you my high level answer on this. Is that you've obviously, like, what does he mean by similar, right? So it's exact phrase or
organic bully sticks, 6-inch natural bully sticks in the same in the title.
Similar, so the same keywords, right? Look, I think for us in the long term, what we on our listing optimizer tool, right? We rate your listing based on the keywords you're adding, and what we find is that if you you do your exact match on the main phrases you're going for, but then you broad match or phrase match on the other ones, and you can do a whole bunch with just keeping, without overstuffing your keyword title. You can phrase match and broad match on basically all the main keywords that you need to. That to us seems to have long-term consistent legs. You have a professional looking listing, it's well optimized across the board and phrase, and you have your exact for the main ones you want in there. And that works for us. I think on average right now we're seeing across our customers, those who use our listing optimizer tool, I think it's 82, or it might have just dropped about 80% increase in revenue over time, right? So we see our listing optimizer tool work from finding the keywords and then on our basis doing exact and exact on the keywords, broad and phrase. Yeah.
So it's interesting because I know most of the people that have agencies will disagree with me. Most. like they'll be throwing stones at me.
I
And
know what
that's,
you're gonna say. You're gonna say stuff the hell out of it for the launch, right? Yeah.
yeah. And this has just been proven again with another listing. I didn't do it, but I had somebody send it over to me to this week, and it was stuffed. It wasn't pretty, and it's already started to get results, like really great results. It indexed the bullets. They're not optimized for mobile. They're stuffed. And what'll happen is after 30 days or so, once we get sort of out of that honeymoon period, we'll spritz and remove keywords so we can get more indexing. And this, I used to do this back in the day. So 2014, 15, 16, that's what we were doing. Then, okay, just start doing short, more engaged, one main keyword phrase in the title. And that was fine. And then by accident, once Vandana posted or launched a product that was the old style. And all of a sudden we started getting tons of indexing, and it went really well. And then Stephen Pope came on and he said that he was doing this now. And so we started going back to the old style. And we do go back and forth to see if maybe, we're getting penalized or anything, but it's still working for us. And yep, I can hear anyone who has an agency commenting here and saying, oh, that's, you can't do that, but we do. And it's working.
Look, I mean, I think for us, we're trying to, yes, our customers do that. And yes, there's always repeat words, and we have that. And actually our score rating goes up if you do use, especially like plurals or singulars, right? It increases based on that. Look, I think as long as the long-term strategy is to get to a better place on the listing, I think that's going to help with your overall conversion down the way. But you have that honeymoon period. Do whatever you can, go hard as you can to get as much eyeballs on it as you can, right? So, I've heard you say that strategy before, and it's a great strategy. I think for us, we also just, what I would say is the underlying fact of, like, if you do your steps properly, which is at the end of the day, you have a great product, you have a good launch strategy, which includes outside traffic, and you have a great price point going in at a low price point, so you get a good conversion, and you understand where your competitors are focusing and what keywords you can win on. If you do that, that's what's going to really drive the needle. And whether you stuff it or don't stuff it, on top of that might drive it a little bit more here or there. But don't expect that's going to be your winning strategy. You've got to make sure you have the other steps right. Yeah.
That's right. So there is, I don't even know how many steps we have, but launch with a proper optimization. We get as many keywords as we can indexed. We monitor it, and that's the key. Keyword here is monitor. If you're not monitoring what's happening, in a keyword tracker, some tool, then you're already losing, because you don't know if your strategy is working or not. And then using those search performance reports, like I was just talking about, and seeing again what's working or not. But everybody's going to have a different way of doing it. We're constantly trying to test it. And we're going to keep you up to date. If we find that shorter titles, or like we do optimize for mobile too, like our images will optimize for mobile, but we'll change everything around, and we're constantly playing with it. And at the end of the day, if you're looking at that listing, probably 6 months out, it's a very engaging listing.
Good.
So, but we've got all the indexing. So anyways, that's a long-winded, answer. I'm typically long-winded.
Okay, our last question is from CoolHand99. Is it better to give a free gift as a surprise to the customer, or better to add the extra gift into the image and listing?
I would say the latter. Obviously, if there's additional stuff you have and you can do it in the right way in terms of service, the more value you can give them up front, the better you're going to get a click on it, the more conversions you're going to get. That at the end of the day is going to help you. And if you want to, there's plenty of ways you can surprise them in the unboxing experience, which is
Yeah.
a critical part of it, right? And more importantly, how you can drive them to your website, because you've thought about this as an overall e-commerce brand, and you've got a strategy for that. I think that's the biggest part of the unboxing is making sure it's a great experience, but also driving them somewhere, right? And becoming brand evangelists. But yeah, anything that you could do up front to give them additional value to get the click or the conversion is important.
All right. Very good. Okay. So Kelsey, can you put your finger on that button? Press it, please.
Let's see.
All right, just a second.
He didn't
caught
do
me
it.
off
He
guard
didn't do
there.
it.
All right, here we go.
A big thank you to our sponsor, Startup Club, the largest club on Clubhouse with over 790,000 members and growing. They're one of the world's largest communities supporting the startup ecosystem, from founders to those wishing to work for a startup and everything in between. You can find them at www.startup.club for blogs, recordings, and a calendar of upcoming shows, and on the Clubhouse app. Just search Startup Club for daily shows 24/7. You can also now listen to their show, the Serial Entrepreneur Club podcast, on Apple and Spotify too. Stop by to connect, learn, and grow together. All right. So before we get over to the wheel, Jon, can you just give some of your contact information if anybody wants to get in contact with you to use your app or just to talk a bit further?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to use it, just go to zonguru.com. Yeah, there's plenty there. There's a chat there. We have an amazing support team. So any questions you have, they can jump in and use that. Check out our Instagram as well. I think that's important. And if you want to email me direct, you can. It's Jon, Jon, @zonguru.com. Give that a go if there's any specific you need there. Comes into my inbox. You got it.
All right, fantastic. Okay, it's time, Kelsey.
All right.
Are you gonna put your finger on that button this time? You're not gonna.
I am.
Oh, very good.
You ready?
I'm ready if you're ready.
I'm good to go. Okay, here we go. Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Alrighty.
All right, there we go. And Facebook user, I'm not sure who that is. I probably came up with the idea, Kels.
Oh yeah, you think so?
I don't know.
All right, yeah,
All right,
and that's
spin the
from
thing.
Marsha. Okay, here we go. We'll give it a quick shuffle, and here we go. So if you are the winner, please email me k@lunchwithnorm.com to pick up your prize.
Yanni, it looks like.
Yanni.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Yanni had a question. That's great.
Well, you're going to like that, Yanni. So congrats.
So again, that's k@lunchwithnorm.com. You can also, if you didn't win, we do have the 20% off for anyone, which I can put the link again, but you can get 20% off lifetime discount for any subscription for Zonguru. So that's using the link down below.
So, Kels, it looks like Christine stopped paying you and Yanni started paying you, because I think that's the second win in a very short period of time.
So you got to keep the cycle going. You can't.
Yeah, you're making a lot of money on the side.
Oh yeah. It's a good side hustle.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I think that's it, Jon. It's awesome having you on the podcast again. Just if you have a second, just kick around. You'll be removed, and then we'll come back and talk for a sec. But anyways, thank you, and we're gonna have you on again if you'll come back on. So fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Thanks, Norm. We'll see you again. I'll come up with some other interesting topic idea of the latest greatest from the Amazon data side. So
I will look forward to it. Okay, so everybody, I hope you had a great time on today's episode. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the product development and what's changed. I think Jon did a great job explaining the data side of things. So if you are interested, check out Zonguru. We do have a 20% discount for you for life if you go over there. So anyways, that's just for our Lunch with Norm listeners. Okay, so Kelsey, where are you? I want to pick on you more.
Okay, bring it on. I'm ready. Anything else? Any other quarrels you have with me?
Well, maybe after the podcast. I won't talk about it right now, but anyways, put it this way, I'm getting what I'm paying for. So that's it.
That's right. That's right. You are.
Yeah, and I think you're free. Okay, so what's happening next week?
All right. So we have Anna, who we got referred by from Omer Dar, and it's going to be about how you can hire a remote team in Mexico. So I know a lot of people think they go to Venezuela maybe, or they go to the Philippines, but a lot of people don't know that Mexico actually has some resources that you can use. They have the same,
Very good rate.
yeah, good rate, same time zone as well, which could be useful if you don't want to wait the 12 hours between contacts. So that's Monday. Super excited about that. And yeah, should be a great show. Also, don't forget to smash those like buttons. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode, and make sure you check out the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective Facebook group. It's our go-to. It's where the Beard Nation comes together, and you can share your thoughts, your stories, and you can hang out with all the amazing people from our Beard Nation, like Marsha, Howard, Cindy. Everyone from the comment sections, I think, is in the Facebook group. So if you want to meet some incredible people, Cool Hand 99, Mohammed, Connor, it's great to see you, Tony, as well, Mike, and hopefully I'm not missing anyone, Christine, of course, and it's great to see everyone. Love seeing you guys in the comment sections and hanging out with you, Marsha, of course, as well, and I hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend. Fall is coming.
Is that the same
Enjoy
in the
the summer.
States? Yeah. Is it Labor Day? Is it called Labor Day in the US? I'm not sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think Christine was saying that she's having a beach day for Labor Day weekend. And so.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We come to you live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And as you could tell by my intro, it is live. So hopefully I'm not too frazzled. Hopefully there's no more power outages just before the podcast. But hey, we really appreciate you coming. We have a great community. I say this every episode. We could not do this without you. Just love it. Keep the engagement going on within the Facebook group. Reach out to us. And have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Lunch with the